This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
This week saw Premier African Minerals announce that its partner, Canmax Technologies, has reaffirmed its intention to support the completion of work necessary to achieve targeted grade and recoveries at its Zulu lithium and tantalum project in Zimbabwe. Premier has also announced that it's considering a restructuring of its planned £3.5 million fundraising after deciding not to proceed with the placing and retail offering as previously structured. Now, I'm joined now by George Roach, CEO of Premier African Minerals. Hi, George.
Yes, hi. Good to be talking to you.
Well, good to speak to you too. Now, I know you normally do speak to Mark. He's away this week. I'm Pam. I'll be taking the interview today. So let's dive straight into the first question. So tell me, George, why was the offering for such a short period?
Well, we were largely guided by the brokers that we were using in terms of this particular fundraising. I need to make the point that it was two parts. There was the institutional part and then the retail shareholders component. The two were interdependent on each other. We needed to achieve close to or substantially close to the overall target to proceed, which we didn't achieve. I believe that one was extended, and had there been specific requests and indications that there was a need to extend further, we would have done so. That wasn't the case. And the other issue, of course, is that when one goes out and gives institutional investors a fixed timeline, it's not really fair to ask them to retain themselves in that position for an extended period of time. So it really is only fair that it should close and either close and is accepted or not within the overall timeline. And that's what happened. Okay. It's worth noting that although we didn't achieve the target, it was very interesting that close to 300 individual Prem shareholders had all indicated that they would like to subscribe and be party to it. So that's very encouraging. It's just a pity we didn't hit the overall target.
Yes. Well, you mentioned the shareholders here right now, and of course, these questions have come from your shareholders today. Oh. So, on to the next question. Can you share the reason why the value of Zulu has been halved?
Why the value at Zulu has been halved?
Yes.
The overall valuation, which was originally in place in respect of Zulu, goes back some years ago. At that point in time, the 200 million was very much an arbitrary figure, and it was an estimate and an arbitrary number that we had. But at that point in time, I think it's worth noting that spodumene spot was probably $6,000 a ton, something along those lines. The figure that is reflective after the variation on the Canmax agreement of 100 million is in fact what has substantively been spent on the project. That's what it is. It's a sunk cost and the actual money spent in bringing Zulu to where it is. Under the present circumstances, I think that is a very acceptable number. And I believe that as we are able to bring this into production and be able to do and look at valuation based on a DCF NPV basis, I think that that's going to change.
Okay. Well, that leads me into the next question from the shareholders, which is, what is Prem currently doing to raise the funds needed?
Well, we're exploring various avenues at the moment. The one that we did explore through this fundraising, which has not closed, was one. Perhaps the saddest part of this is that with the next step, getting over this little bit of test work we need to do, getting the additional flotation cells in, that we are likely to move from a need for equity-based finance into a debt-based financing situation. That's all we really need to do. So it's a very close call at the moment. But We do need money. The money is going to have to come, I believe, through the issuance of additional equity, and that is the route that we are following.
Yeah. George, what comments do you have on the suggestion that you should personally contribute to the funding of Zulu?
Well, I've personally contributed somewhere between 12 and 15 million pounds already. And I brought the whole thing from nothing to where we are at the moment. So I think that anybody making that comment, yes, I hear it, but I think that it's made without an understanding or knowledge of just where this has come from.
Yeah. And what does the new agreement then mean with Canmax? What does the new agreement with Canmax mean for Prem? And what does Prem have to give? Does it have anything to give away? And what effects would this have on Zulu?
Well, the overall status and the relationship has been reaffirmed in an RNS. I think it was yesterday, I believe, where Canmax has approved every word that was in that RNS. They have set out very clearly what the objectives and intentions are. At the same time, Canmax is owed a prepayment amount. And I think that it is reasonable that Canmax should expect to improve the security that they have. Mm-hmm. So that agreement sets out to improve Canmax's security. And in exchange for that, Canmax has given us the assurances as set out in that RNS that they remain aligned with us and want to see that this thing produces. Mm-hmm. I think that that's really where we are, and that's what we set out to achieve in the latter part of last year.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit earlier on, George, about the tests. When are you going to get the tests running?
Well, the test work that we're talking about is a restart of the plant for a limited period to test some issues associated with the existing spodumene flotation cells. Let me make the point again that this process plant could only be commissioned and optimized sequentially. You had to start at the front end and work your way to the back. And it's unfortunate that in the middle of last year, as we finally got to the back end of the plant to actually do the commissioning and optimization, funds were very, very critical. And we have not been able to do it. We conducted a lot more test work in Q3 last year. We identified various things that we should be implemented in the spodumene flotation circuit. And all we want to do is restart the plant and implement those and see whether that has the same effect in the plant as we've seen in the laboratory. That would deal with the recovery and the grade issues. But as a backup to that, at the same time, funds permitting, we will purchase additional spodumene flotation cells of different technology that is proven. And quite likely, we will make one or two modifications by way of inserts that was previously discussed in our existing cleaner cells. Now, it gives us not two, but now three options. And I'm confident that between at least one, possibly two, maybe all three of those options, we're going to achieve the result that we need and demonstrate that this plant does produce. We know it has previously produced, but now produce at grade and at recovery consistently.
Yeah. Well, just to finish off with you now, George, what's the way forward?
Well, the way forward is that we need to fund this. And that's every effort is concerned with that. We've been very candid in the marketplace. We haven't hidden this from anybody. At the same time, I need to make the point that the project has $100 million sunk into it already. There is a significant development that has taken place. There is real value. One only has to look at the very recent video done with VSA Capital with Andrew Monk. One only has to look at that to see just what is there. And I think that there's a significant displacement at the moment between what the value of this project is and what the market is tending to price it at. Now, I'm not sufficiently expert to bridge that gap, but I can certainly point out what it is, and I can certainly make the point that I believe that our present market cap is not indicative of the value of this company, in my view.
That's great. Well, George, thank you for joining us today on Stockbox, and no doubt we'll be speaking to you again very soon.
Good. Look forward to it. Thank you very much indeed.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.